Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Zen. In these videos, I show you how to make one tangle pattern using the Zentangle method of drawing. So in these videos, I use my 2" by 2" little tiles. They are called the bijou tiles. They are paper, and they are available on Zentangle.com. I also use their Secura Micron pens. This is a PN plastic nib pen. I have a little graphite pencil for some shading and a paper blending tool called a tortillon. All of these are available at Zentangle.com. Okay, so today I'm kind of excited to do this one. This is a brand new tangle that was released last month. So Zentangle Incorporated celebrated their 20-year anniversary this year. And one of the things that they did was had an International Day of Zentangle, which was July 15th. And on that day, they went live and showed people all over the world how to make a new tangle that they had created. And they named it Idoz for International Day of Zentangle. The Z might even be capitalized, I don't remember. So anyway, a new tangle by them, and I highly recommend you going to YouTube and looking up Zentangle and looking at their variations. I'm actually going to show you. Typically, I don't show in these videos different variations. However, this is the first one that I made following their tutorials, and this was with Rick, so one of the founders. And he did a nice, pretty thing where he put these flex shapes in and had them kind of touch, and nice and beautiful. Then we did it with Maria, and of course mine does not look like hers, nor does mine look exactly like Rick's, but she does the first one, and then she's got some tucked in behind and then overlapping, and she added little enhancements and little strings on the ends. So two very different ways, and I just think it's a good example of how you can take a tangle and make it your own. Okay, let's get started. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with my pen. I'm not going to put a border on this one. We're just going to start drawing and see where it takes us. Okay, so Idoz, it begins with that flux shape, which is a teardrop shape. Now I'm going to do 3. I'm going to put one here, one over here, and then one coming up from the top somewhere. I feel like 4 on this little tile is going to be too much, but of course you can do whatever you'd like. Okay, so we're going to begin with this rounded teardrop shape, and I'm making it go to about the middle, and it doesn't matter if you curve in these little ends or you keep them straight. There's no rules. All right, now my next one's going to go right here, and I'm going to make it a little bit larger because I want it to come up and like tuck in behind and then come back out. So I'm going to come from this corner, circle up, and then come back down. If it's easier for you to do this in pencil first, you of course could do that. All right, I'm going to do a third one, and I'm not going to make it straight up and down. I'm going to have it come, I think, from this side over here. So I'm just going to pick a spot. And put that in. The perfectionist in me likes to have, like 4 even ones that touch exactly in the middle, but I love the way that this just sort of builds on itself, and it's not meant to look like anything in particular, and I kind of like the messiness of it. Okay, so now I've got those 3 in. So now I've got a couple of choices. We can make our line come up and then just tuck in behind, or we can come up and then round it once we get to that edge. So that's what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to come up the side, go out, and give it that little curve right before it gets, or right as it gets to that one. Same thing on this side. I'm going to come up and out and tuck. And I'll fill those little spaces in later. Okay, now I'm going to do this side. So again, we can come in and just tuck it in here, or we can come in and make it go out and over this one. So we have choices. We always have choices. So I'm going to do that just on purpose, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So I could have stopped it right here and curled in, but instead I let it meet the outside of the previous one, just for fun. Okay, this side here I'm going to tuck in, I think. I also love how they're all different sizes. Since we're on this little tile, I'm just going to think about kind of filling in the spaces now. So I'm going to do this one. I think I'm going to let it come up and over this one on purpose, like I did over here. I did not mean to come out so quick there. I wanted to come up the side, but that's okay. It still looks cool. And same thing over here. I think I'm going to let it go wide. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to do each side again. You can decide what you want this to do. I let one tuck in and one is going out wide. And just work your way around. Isn't that just so organic and so unique? I'm gonna fill in a couple of little tiny spots where I see it feels like I have like a little bit of a background. There wasn't many. All right, I think that I have enough. However, if you want to keep going to fill things in, you can. You could even put in like a little mini one right here if you wanted to. But go ahead and keep filling them in if you'd like. But I'm going to head into the center because I love what Maria did. These are pretty small to work in compared to the 3.5 inch tiles. So we're just going to put in a little bit of detail. So I'm going to take this first one here and we go on the inside and we come up and then back down like that, giving it this little one inside. If you don't want to do a continuous line, you can come up and stop, come up on the other side and stop. Inside those, I'm going to add some orbs or circles, and I like starting in the center with the largest one that I can fit. And then I just continue to fill in the sides, and that's about all I can fit in there. So I'm going to ink in those little extra parts. And I'm going to give mine just the slightest reflection. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing in this one. So now I've got this overlapping thing happening. So I'm gonna choose the largest spot to put a circle if it fits. Up here, I would only see a partial circle. And down there would be a tiny one. I know that it bothers some people, I think, when I do reflections on different sides. I just never think about it. Let's put them in there wherever I feel like it. Okay, this one here, same thing. I'm gonna pick a large spot. And then I'm gonna think about this one's gonna be tucking in behind. I've even got room for a small one at the bottom. And add in some little reflections. Okay, on Maria's, she added these little circles inside with her pencil. She also added an aura around the interior, and she thickened some of these extra sides here, not even every single one. So you can keep adding details if you'd like. I think I'm gonna add a few little auras, but not along that inside. I'm gonna add them to the outside of these outer areas. So I'm gonna go like this. Just to give it a little more interest. I'm not going to add it to the middle, even though it really would look pretty. I just feel like I don't have a lot of room to draw. Okay, I'm going to add some to the outside of these. You do what you want. It doesn't matter. All right, I love that. Now I'm going to add those little curly cues that she put on the ends just because I think that's such a cute detail and a cute way to fill up that space. I'm going to start nice and thick and then get thinner as I go. And you can twist these and turn these to just sort of fill in some areas. And because we made those little orbs on the inside, if you have more space and you want to add some, you can add some around the outside. You definitely do not need to. I just kind of like how they're inside and out. Put a little one balancing up here. There we go, Idoz. Isn't that a fun one? Okay, I'm gonna show the variations one more time now that you've made it. So many cool things that you could do on the inside of those. All right, let's do some shading. I know it's a little bit hard to shade these little tiny tiles with so many lines, but we can do it. I'm gonna go around that first shape that I made. So not the dark part here, but the outside of that very first flux shape or teardrop shape. And then I'm going to kind of pull that away. And that gives it that pretty little shadow. Same thing on this next one, not the dark part, but around the outside of that first shape that we made. And part of it tucks in, so I'm not going to highlight that right now, or I'm not going to shade it. Then I've got this last one, and it does go over the second one, so that needs a little bit of shadow. Around the outside of that. Now I'm just going to take my blending tool that already has a little bit of graphite on it, and I'm just going to go on the outside of each of these shapes that we added. So the outside edge, just on some of those or all of them, just to give that a tiny shadow. It doesn't need much. I'm also going to do the half of the orbs that I did not put the reflection on. There we go, Idoz. Isn't that such a fun one? Like putting them around the orbs, giving them a little bit of a shadow. Okay, I'm going to add my initials to the bottom. And there we go. Thank you so much for following along. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.